Hey, are you tired of manually analyzing line after line of dull text while troubleshooting Wi-Fi? You really want to save that time by using awesome tech tools? Then you really want to meet the guy that created those tools. Keep watching.
And they want to test your network, they want to bring it down.
Why should I care about troubleshooting at all?
And he went way off script, so we can actually throw away all. All right, good to have you back, guys. It's great to have you back with us in the Basement Studios.
Indeed. Hi, hello everybody. So our episodes wouldn't be full without touching an extremely important topic, which is troubleshooting. Well, some of the people, they tend to claim that, okay, I've already invested into latest and greatest wireless solution in the industry. Why should I care about troubleshooting at all? Well, probably over time those people look like this, right, Steven?
Yes, because doing the right investment and then sticking to all the design rules, it takes you far, don't get me wrong, but it takes you only to about 80%. And when you leave 20% open, well, Murphy's Law still applies.
Yes. So to touch upon such a serious question, we asked one of the most experienced leads in Wireless Technical Delivery Center to join us and to talk through it. So please welcome Nicholas Darches.
Hi Sophia. Hi Steven.
Hi Nicholas, thank you so much for joining us. So Nicholas lives and works in Belgium. He's not just an active CCIE, he was one of those brave guys who jumped into this challenge when this certification was just released. So he is also active CWNE, and also he has a rich experience in tech. He mentioned that he submitted over 800 bugs in his career. So no doubt that with such rich experience in tech as well as rich educational background made him an author of CCIE Wireless Study Guide as well as Cisco Live Speaker.
Wow, that is impressive. You use a lot of tools, Nicholas, and one of the tools that you developed actually and became very popular is the Wireless LAN Configuration Analyzer. Can you tell us about the backgrounds and what is the use and how to use it?
Absolutely. So that started actually maybe close to 10 years ago. Because as tech engineers, the show run config of a controller is really the show tech of other technology. So it has all the information, but it's a lot of information. And you always need it's a lot of text to read in the first place. Then people had several controllers, and then you need to cross-reference. What if you configure something in one controller, and then it's configured wrong in another controller? It's virtually impossible unless you spend hours to find that as a human. And the tool, which was a script to start with, was just cross-checking several configs of several controllers to see if there was no inconsistencies. And then we added to it, we added more. And then at some point, it's like, why not let customers benefit from it, right? There's nothing secret in it. So it just got published. I can actually show you the page. We have on the DevNet website, developer.cisco.com, there is wireless troubleshooting tools. And there you have all the tools that we have published for you to use. There is actually two config analyzer by now. The classic one, which is called the Wireless LAN Config Analyzer, WLCCA, is a desktop application. It started as a desktop application for Windows. It is cool because it adds some graphical visualization of AP's proximity and to visualize the RF neighborhood. But we also move now to a cloud version, which is the Wireless Config Analyzer Express. So this cloud one is a lot more updated and supports the 9800 controller. So we have all the latest and greatest catch and gotchas in there. Every time we find a couple of tech cases on a specific topic, and there's a catch, we actually go to it and update it with an additional check, if I can say so. So using it is very simple. You just upload your ShowTech Wireless in case of 9800, or a show run config in case of AirOS, and you will get the result and a list of alarms, a list of top issues for your controller and what you need to look at.
On behalf of hundreds of our customers, thank you.
So
it helps everyone, I think.
Yes, indeed. So do you basically use it in tech on your daily basis to navigate through the? Oh, that's cool. So
absolutely.
That's really...
So every time we have a case, basically, even if we believe we know what the problem could be, we run a check because we're going to give side advices to the customer, like, hey, this is not why you opened the case, but watch out for this and watch out for that. It might explode, in the future, or you might just, maybe it's normal, but you might want to take a look at it. So we always run it, yes.
Well, that's really cool. By the way, what customers need to get this tool? Is it free of charge?
Absolutely free of charge. You just go to developer.cisco.com and you can use it.
Yeah, well, actually, that's one of the really cool tools that you can use in order to actively and proactively troubleshoot your network, which is really nice.
And the fact that it is free, for me as a Dutch person, that's an extra plus. Nicholas knows it's true.
Yeah. As a Belgian, we're cheap as well. So yeah, cheap people for the win.
Oh, that's really funny. Okay, so on a paid site, well, I also wanted to ask you about another tool that our customers can use in order to find some root cause when they are troubleshooting their Wi-Fi. And obviously, Wi-Fi is not something simple to troubleshoot because there are so many reasons when infrastructure might not work correctly. But not only infrastructure, but also can be client device, applications, so many things. So basically, DNA assurance could be a really nice tool to intuitively navigate our customers through the troubleshooting process. So could you please give us a little sneak peek on that tool?
Yes. So I have to say, and I have to admit, to come clean, historically, I was never a fan of NMS, network management solutions.
Oh, really?
Because I understand that they were useful when you have a large network to manage and you have a lot of devices, because you want to push the config to all devices at once and check for consistency. So they've always been helpful for that. But for troubleshooting, because they bring to you all the issues from every network device without any kind of sorting, it was unusable. You would have thousands of alarms per day. And unless you have a full team dedicated of browsing through it and even knowing the device and knowing, if it's real or not, it was just unusable. So I know customers were tending to ignore those alarms, right? So where DNA comes to the rescue is that assurance brings intelligence to this process. So there's all the config part is still there and was redesigned and all of that, but I'm focusing on the troubleshooting part, right? Because I'm biased, obviously. So I was never using an NMS tool before to troubleshoot. I was like, give me access to the device because I don't need another layer of, to get my information. I want to get the real information immediately. And now it's not the case anymore. So when the customers have, I would say, kind of blurry problem description, and in wireless that happens a lot, as you know, like we have some issues at some remote locations and some clients are reporting, some disconnection. And like, okay, can you be more specific? And the poor engineer on the other side is like, no, I cannot. This is what end users are telling me. So what are we going to do? In the past, I would be like, okay, let's enable hardcore debugs on specific controllers, specific APs, and hope to catch the problem. And that could last a very long time, and that would frustrate both the customer and TAC as well, and we would not get very far. Now, if you have the chance of having DNA Center, assurance will actually help you to do this narrowing down in the first place. So if I can show you, I have a couple of real story from just last week.
That would be lovely.
So we have, I have redacted it, so I've hidden the customer information. Don't worry. The first thing is that you get the logs on a controller or an access point, but they're always or nearly always instantaneous logs. You do not get the history, right, or very little of it. With DNA Assurance, you can actually see in the event viewer, you can see the history of channel changes, power changes of an access point. So if you're suspecting an access point to be problematic, to detect interference and constantly change channel, you will actually see if that's the case very easily without running commands or anything. So to me, that's the first thing I really love about DNA Assurance is that it brings history in the picture.
We call that the network time travel, right? Is that true?
Exactly.
Yes.
Because typically when you look at it, the problem is not there anymore, but it was there just before you were looking, right? So this will help you prove it.
Okay.
And I had this other customer with this very specific, very unspecific, very blurry type of problem, which is some users are reporting some issues on some access points. So just by going to the issue tab on DNA Center, on DNA Assurance, we have a list of hot issues. And because it is actually counting each issue, how frequently it comes back, is going to say this AP is throwing more alarms than the other. So the top AP is this one, it's the most problematic one. It raised 12 issues today because of high channel utilization. And then you have a categorization, which one are the worst APs to look at. So that's the first really cool thing. Then we're like, okay, apparently high channel utilization is a problem. Remember, the customer said, I just have some clients reporting some disconnection, right? So like, okay, high channel utilization, but the customer ensures me that they don't have a lot of network device, not a lot of traffic. So we take a look at the AP 360 view and we see the channel utilization history. There again, you can see peaks and regular peaks of problem. So you can go on site at any given time and check the channel utilization. It will most probably be low unless you really hit in that moment where it was very high, right? So there is something that causes it to go very high. So now we're looking at possibly interference, right? And remember, it's a remote site, no one technical on site, and it is not something you can easily afford to do otherwise without DNA Center.
Wow.
So we kept narrowing down further. So the question was like, those peaks are very short, but how short? On this graph, the default graph, they were every 5 minutes. So we took it to the next level and enabled RF stats active collection. So this is with the 9115 access point, which doesn't have the RF ASIC chip. But it is able to still do telemetry and narrow down to a 30-second reporting period. So we could actually see that those issues, those high channel utilization, lasted for around 30 seconds because we see the peak only lasting for one reporting interval. And the assurance goes as far as telling us that it is not an external interferer, it is the AP itself having a busy receive and transmit.
Wow.
So we're looking at possibly a client heavily retrying to the AP and forcing the AP doing a kind of denial of service randomly for a few seconds, up to 30 seconds, every 2 or 3 hours or so. So we know that's what we're looking at. So that's really as far as we could go. If you have a 9120 or 9130, because of the RF ASIC, we can actually take an RF spectrum capture as the AP is still servicing clients and identify if this is really a client or if there is something, some attack causing it.
Yes. This is what Minse Kim was actually talking about, the being able to capture packets from your access point the moment it happened. Yeah, Minse talked about that. That's great. Great innovation. That must be making your life from a troubleshooting perspective way easier.
Absolutely. I mean, we're saving up to months of getting down to the problem, because once you know the problem, you know exactly what to take. Like, okay, you have an external interferer problem. You probably need to, go to the site and we have the tools. We know where it is more or less, etc. Or you have a client acting crazy, and then we can narrow down where and when, and it just helps, right? You could be spending months or years otherwise.
Wow, that's impressive. When I'm explain to one of our customers what is assurance, I always explain it like putting a thermometer into your network that tells you the health of your network and your devices and your clients and your users and your applications, and not just now, but as you say, even to be able to go back in time and do that network time travel to really nail down the problem when it occurred, even if the problem isn't there anymore. And another great thing that I like about the wireless assurance is that it actually gives you actionable items, right? So you can see why the issue was there, and you can also hit the solve the problem button. And I know that you, as an experienced CCIE, you don't need that because you can actually do it yourself and do it in hard coding. But a lot of us, we actually do like the graphical user interface to tell us what to fix.
Yeah, a lot of issues are not coming to us because people could fix it before, right? So I'm very happy about those. I just do not have a perception of how many that represents, but...
That's nice. But by the way, since we're talking about those actionable insights, maybe, Nicholas, you know some kind of a secrets if tag somehow impacts this kind of advices that we see in DNA Center?
Yes. So at two level. So there is DNA Center is one thing. Then you have the AI cloud analytics behind it, which is a separate subscription. And we actually were involved into the machine learning of that. So there was real data being fed, and then the system needs to learn what is a problem and what isn't, right? And sometimes you go over a threshold, but it's not really that big of a deal, or it could be explained. So a lot of tech engineers were actually looking at the data and say, no, this would normally seem like an alarm, but it's not because of this other metric, and this is actually a problem. And we helped the machine to simply learn, and now it's autonomous, and it will do it automatically and much better than we do, because it takes a long time to do manually. So I'm happy about that.
Wow. Wow.
So with that, you're actually able to sometimes prove that a complaint that is coming from the colleagues or the department, you can prove it's not the network, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very handy. So Nicholas, we are asking always 2 questions to all our guests, and I'm pretty sure you will have some amazing stories here, because I would love to hear from you one day in your career that you will never forget.
I really have trouble picking only one, to be honest. The one I will really, it's not just one day, so I'm really not answering the question. It was the Rio Olympics in 2016.
Oh, wow.
So a bunch of tech engineers had the chance to go there for supporting the event. And it was just a memorable experience. Like the best people from Cisco, a real network, a great organization. It was the best memories for me. Unfortunately, I don't have any funny anecdotes because everything worked as expected.
Yes.
So as a support person, I actually didn't have a lot of work. So that was a brilliant experience just because of that.
Well, that must be amazing that you are actively participating in such a big event that is broadcasted throughout the world, and it works flawless. That must be. I can imagine you're very proud of that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can just give another one, is probably,
please.
The year I spent I passed my CCIE in 2009. I was extremely young when I joined Cisco, and I looked even younger. So I had just passed my CCIE.
You still do. You still do.
Thank you. And exceptionally, there was a customer in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, that was really it was one of the first all wireless office back then, which was a new concept back then. Right now, it's business as usual, right? And there were some issues, and we didn't have the right person on site to troubleshoot because it was, no DNA assurance, and it was some dodgy issue. So we needed to narrow it down. And then it was decided that I would go on site because I was, I just passed my CCIE and I was the man for it. And as a youngster, it was the first time I would go to the customer site, and they saw me. They were a bit like, you look a bit young. Like, are you sure? Are you the right guy? I'm like, well, how many wireless CCIEs do you have around? I don't know. I guess it's me, right? But I was just as confused. And no, it worked out great. So we found the problems, but yeah, that is
hilarious.
The chance we have at Cisco of, you learn very quickly, you work with the best, and you just learn so fast that I didn't see that anywhere else. So.
That is brilliant. Yeah. I pictured him opening the door like, does your mom know you're here?
That was pretty much it.
Wow, that is amazing. I love that story. Thank you. When we're off the call, I want to know who is the customer, because as you know, I'm very close to Amsterdam. Yes.
Okay. So our second traditional question actually is about your home Wi-Fi setup. So especially for Cisco people, we're super curious how it looks like because it looks so different. So no exception to you, Nicholas. We also would like to see your wireless setup at home.
Could you please share?
I will show you. So first is my office. This is my lab.
I love it already. Yes.
I have 4 access points, one of each model, pretty much, and a 9800 small controller and a 3504 and a switch, PoE, and it's pretty much all you need, right, to do any kind of setup.
There you go.
So here it's a bit clean, but otherwise the APs are always like upside down with various antennas and phones testing and so on.
Love it.
My desk, which is right behind it, so I have my DX80. An external screen for my laptop, and my home PC, which is a gaming PC at night, but also a virtual machine host during the day for some Cisco ICE and other.
And a detail there is the picture from the San Francisco Bridge, the Golden Gate Bridge.
Exactly.
I love that.
Cisco, yeah.
I love that.
my 3 passions, basically. So you have a Star Wars poster there, but it's pretty dark. San Francisco, and then this rock that my mom gave me. That's pretty much the
brilliant.
And I have a black office. Yes, I painted it black. And my wife keeps saying this is a stupid idea, and it's really bad for the light, but that's what it is. So, Stephen, can you spot it?
Noticed.
The 3700.
37, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Love it.
So it's connected to a cloud 9800 in Amazon. So that's really nice for, we use it for lab and I use it for home as well. This is my best placement because it's central. We're in the corridor and you have all the bedrooms around, so everyone gets the signal. AP in the hallway is not usually the best design for enterprise, but for home, when coverage is what you expect. And we're anyway not so far from the AP, so it's working pretty good.
Yes, and that's one of the first recommendations that I make to people in their home setup is actually, you know what? If you're experiencing problems, get your access point outside of your wiring closet where the electricity comes in and your internet providing, and simply put it in the hallway. Already you're going to have a better performance. So I'm 100% with you. For home, do it.
Now you're going to see a funnier one. So let's go downstairs. So you would expect that at the same location, I would have an AP downstairs, right? But I don't. I decided this is the hallway downstairs.
You have mistletoe there.
Exactly. And we have the garage there, and I didn't really need coverage there. So I decided to put the AP where the users were in the living room, right? So
I love that, yes.
Defendable decision. But now let's take a look at it. You have the kids playing.
This is so exciting. Oh, love it. Those are your demanding users. I love it. Brilliant.
So obviously, the AP was there before the chimney. That's the first thing. And second, I didn't really have any other way to put it because the cable has to go upstairs in the wall, and like I couldn't replace it somewhere else. So yeah.
I was wondering, are you taking the wire through the chimney? But I'm guessing the answer is no.
No. The wall next to the chimney.
Love it. It's brilliant.
Probably in this room you expect high density.
Yes, yeah. So you have the TV, the Nintendo Switch, the kids are there, phones, pretty much everything.
And the demanding users being your kids.
Exactly. And I said before, it's a controller I use for lab and home, right? And then you can already realize that I had complaints, right? I was testing some stuff and I had unhappy users at home, and now I'm not doing this anymore.
That sounds very familiar. I was doing the same thing, and at a certain point my wife was like, okay, so either you take care of the kids or you're going to stop doing testing. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. It was lovely.
It was brilliant. With that, we're coming to the end of the episode. I want to say thank you very much, Nicholas. I really enjoyed this session. Loved it. Thank you. Sophia?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for spending time with us. And it was really a pleasure to have such kind of conversation.
Thank you for having me.
See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.